What is going on, everybody? Hope you lot are well. Today we're back again with some more Switch 2 footage. Today we're going to be checking out some backward compatibility and some comparisons with Switch 1 versus Switch 2. We're going to check out 4 games today. We're going to do City Skylines, Point Hospital, and Point Campus. And then we're going to check out Jurassic World Evolution. We'll be checking out the load times, comparing them to each other, and then we'll show a couple of minutes off of footage of each game to see what the big changes are and what the difference are. Loads of Switch 2 footage up on the channel at the moment, so if you're interested, we're gonna have a couple of these backward compatibility videos going out or already gone up. We're gonna check out some first look, some of the new games that are dropping on Switch 2. Again, if you're interested, follow, like, and subscribe, so you do know when those new videos drop. Other than that, let's get right into it. So if we start off with City Skylines, obviously Switch 2 on the right, and Switch original on the left. As you can see, load time is around 10 seconds here on the Switch 2. Um, Everything was installed on internal storage on Switch 2, and I had a 1 TB SD card on the Switch 1. Obviously, internal storage is so small, so I couldn't install everything to test it on Switch 1. And what you're going to see here throughout is most of the times, loading times are improved. Or like reduced by half even, and in some situations like this it was like 30 seconds is like knocked off 20 seconds of it. So this is some Switch 1 footage of City Skylines. As you can see, this was not a good version of City Skylines in my opinion. Didn't run at a higher frame rate. Even then, I don't know how stable the frame rate was. Loads of pop-in, draw distance wasn't great, anti-aliasing and shimmering everywhere. That was just like the general experience I had. And this is just like the first initial, you know, uh, the first area you unlock. So this isn't even a big city. This was just like something I built off quickly. So you can only imagine when it gets bigger and more complex, how it will perform then. So yeah, if I'm just doing a pan around just to show you, that was the industrial area. Now we're going to obviously an area that is a residential. Let's try place some buildings and stuff just so you can get a rough idea of the performance. So yeah, that's what we focus on in this video. More of the park builders, city builders. Or lump them all into one video because people are interested in these type of games. Will probably own a couple of these if you want to play them on Switch, right? It'll be interesting to see because I don't think I'd be shocked if this game gets an update, because there are certain games that just benefit where frame rates were unlocked and or like it was dynamic resolution. But a lot of these builder type games, like, frame rates are locked from the start, and I don't think a lot of them were using dynamic resolutions. So if we just move over to some Switch 2 footage here now, yeah, the main benefit you're going to see is like really loading times. So as you can see straight away now, still shimmering everywhere on the lines. You can still see popping. Sure, the frame rate might be a little bit more stable. It doesn't look as juddery, but like, when you pan around, as you can see, it's not 60 or anything like that. Yeah, still doesn't perform great, so the only, initially anyway, for this first city I had to look at, spoilers, it just seems like loading time improvements, and maybe those textures that pop in or loading a slight bit faster, but even then it's just like the issue is so glaring. It's just like really hard to tell, right? That was like one of the signature features of this game on Switch, about the pop-in loading textures. As you can see, it's still all clearly here. You just do a pan around. I'll try to keep these comparisons as similar as possible. Let's build something here, place something down so you can see. Yeah, I was talking about this game is very old now. Like, do do they go back and patch some of these games? Some of the games that are out newer, you can see the developers going in and patching, but for games that are like 5-6 years old, where they're not even getting DLC and any kind of updates at all, can you see, unless Nintendo doesn't do a system-wide update that improves some of these games, I don't know if the devs would patch in, like, to see like mouse control in some of these games, and taking advantage of Switch 2 hardware would be great, but some of them, it wouldn't hold my breath for, if I'm being honest. I would be surprised if this gets an update. But a quick pan around. We're gonna cover the 2 Point games, which was like out way newer. The 2 Point Hospital, that didn't get an update, and that had like bugs and stuff in it, and that was still selling well. So for something like this that is way older, like, I would be pleasantly surprised. Um, I guess you can argue like, well, it's not got any bugs and anything like that. It runs right on Switch 2. It's fully backward compatible. So, the devs are not obligated to do it. So if we just move over to 2 Point Hospital, first of all, Switch 2 on the right, obviously, original Switch on the left. Again, internal storage on Switch 2 and 1 TB SD card. That's what it was saved on the left. As you can see, about 25 seconds. And throughout my testing, I think that's something I'm seeing, like for all the backward compatibility tests I've done so far, I'm seeing generally, I think I'm confident with saying like it halves the loading times. There are some outliers where it's like way more, like we saw in City Skylines, but in general, see, as you can see here, like almost half. So again, this is some Switch 1 footage. I made a mistake here. I didn't have a later save because I played this on PC as well. Because some of the later areas like bug out a little bit more. One interesting thing I had with these videos that I put up on YouTube, a lot of people were in the comments and like messaging me and stuff saying, oh, have they released patches and all that, because when your save files get pretty big, performance doesn't get great. Which again, we play and cover so many games, we put in like 10-15 hours, don't get really chance to see what is performance like after 30-40 hours, right? So that was something I heard about the 2 Point Campus games that were on Switch anyway. Either they would crash or they even performance issues. Second game was way more synonymous for that than the first one. I think this one performed better than Campus, which is strange because graphically I didn't see anything crazy new going on. Yeah, if we just build something here and then try to keep it pretty similar when we show Switch 2 footage. Some of them are just video chops. That's not like frame rates. I mean, these games do have frame rates that isn't chops, but I just wanted to make the video as short as possible. I didn't want to do what everybody else is doing, just so like 20-second clips and then show individual like screen grabs to say what they look like differently. Most people want to know how these perform over a couple of minutes. So that's how I decided to do this footage. But yeah, you would think, because obviously I didn't cover the latest game. I can't remember what is it called now. It came out a couple of months ago. I would assume that is getting a Switch 2 port, right? We'll probably cover that when it comes to Switch 2. I purposely chose to hold off. I have a feeling, I don't know if they've announced anything, but like I would assume, right? But yeah, I wonder, if any of these games have a chance of getting patches. I would say these two 2 Point Hospital on Campus are the most likely. Sorry if this is some Switch 2 footage now. Sorry, I should have pointed that out. We covered a couple of other games and I put the logos in the corner, and I feel it just ruins the image, so that's why I thought I'd just put it out and I'll timestamp it on the YouTube video so you know where the footage starts. As you can see here, no other than loading time improvements, it may seem a little bit smoother, but it still jumps and judders here and there. Not seeing anything you know, crazy different here. I can remember the community saying they were slow to patch these games as well with the bugs and stuff. If they're slow to patch these games with the bugs and stuff, I'm like, oh, you know, will they really go out their way? Because now they're on the third game, patch these older games to support newer hardware. I didn't think this got the later DLC, right? We covered the Jumbo Edition or something like that that came on the Switch, and I'm not sure if it was in line with the rest. Again, you can see, you know, anti-aliased and jaggy edges on some of these lines. Switch to most games like with dynamic resolution and v-synced frame rates, those are the ones that we're getting surprise updates with and better performance. Everything that is tightly locked on Switch 1, which everybody was calling for at the time, right? It's like, oh, we want tightly locked stuff so it doesn't fluctuate in performance. Now we're coming to find out actually that's the stuff that is least likely to have improvements on Switch 2 other than with loading times. Yeah, overall, like, this game did perform better than, you know, Campus is what we're checking out here now. I don't know why Campus just performed so much worse. Again, switch on the right, OG switch on the left, internal memory on the right, 1 terabyte SD card on the left. As you can see, right, even the loading times a little bit longer than the first game, even for Switch 2. Now that I think back to it, right, that was one of the big changes from the first game. Not even like also the worst performance, but I think loading times just jump a little bit significantly as well. This is like the third map, I think. To be fair to the comparison, for Hospital, we was covering like maybe the first or the second map. So this is a little bit later on in the game. I thought it would be a better test, right? I think I played most of Campus on the Switch. That's why I got a later save. Yeah, as you can see, right, like 45 seconds isn't short, but like when you compare it, like imagine waiting, you know, over a minute and a half to load in, right? It does hinder your experience quite a bit. I stopped the timer when it fully loaded in and stopped juddering. But this is again some original Switch coverage. I should also point out I've got the Mariko model, so, you know, the better battery model. Some people seem to think that it was like better performance on that. But yeah, as you can see here, is chugging, like panning camera a lot. When like here you're gonna see as well. See that? You know, panning around the map is a good sign. I think I built this to like a 2-star. Generally, what you would see, right? Decent amount of stuff going on here. If you're interested in any like both of these games, I think I prefer the first one. I don't know if it's because the shine wore off by the time the second game came and it was so similar, and I just had so much nostalgia for the 2 Point Hospital games. What were they called originally? Team Hospital, sorry, not 2 Point Hospital. I think that, you know, nostalgia kind of wore off for me by the time the second game came around.
Your body is a temple, and you wouldn't fill a temple with crisps.
I mean, I would fill it with crisps. What are you talking about, lady? Yeah, if they hadn't announced their new game and they weren't working on that and patching that, I would have been most hopeful for this one to get a patch. Again, even then, they're on their third game now. You know, I'd be pleasantly surprised, not holding my breath.
Now that's easy listening. sound of 2-point counting.
As you can see, this game clearly chugs way more than
You're listening to 2 Point
Hospital.
Radio, the place your ears call home. We've got a barnstorming show for you today, but before we kick down the door and go straight for the valuables, soak in some sonic excellence. Play that track and we'll be right back.
All right, so let's move into some Switch 2 footage of Campus, as you can see off the bat straight away as well. They were chugging, you know, which is surprising. Like I didn't think we would get those big hitches here, but I still did. So definitely something like engine related here, right? It's like with most other games, if they're locked to a certain performance threshold, like playing them on Switch 2, that's like things you notice straight away, right? Those big performance hitches. But yeah, I don't get why. Obviously we sort of pop in and everything with textures or city skylines, but the big frame rate hitches, that wasn't a hitch there. That was, I just cut it to, I didn't want this footage to go on too long, to make it very similar to the Switch 1 footage. We just do some building here. You know what would be interesting? Like I didn't cover it and I should have, but only because I didn't think the performance was that bad. We also covered the Bird Roller Coaster Tycoon game, I think it was, on Switch. That video's on the channel. It would be nice if they did something like this, like that, with the original 2-point. Sorry, I keep saying 2-point, with the theme park and theme hospital games. Like, just give us the original ones, you know. It'd be nice for nostalgia's sake, rather than new remakes as well. Give us all the options.
Frequently asked questions. Yes, your
And
legend
again, the reason I
does
didn't cover
look
that was,
nice.
you know, not really like remaster or whatever it was, right? I can't remember now. But wasn't graphically doing anything crazy. Right, if we jump over to the big one now. Yeah, lots to talk about with this game. So first of all, let's, you know, check loading times for Jurassic World Evolution. The second game didn't come to Switch. Understandable, because even on like Xbox Series, when we covered it there, it doesn't perform great. So no way was they gonna get this to perform well here on the Switch. You know, Switch 2 loading times greatly improved. Loading times weren't crazy long in this game anyway, compared to like, you know, 2-point Campus or anything. So it was still bearable. So if we show off some, there you can see, you know, again, almost half. We saw off, this is some Switch 1 footage. This game ran surprisingly well. Like, look at what the 2-point games were doing, and look at what this game is doing, you know. So the first game, they got running really well. If you're still going back and you like these park builders, city builders and all that, this, out of all of them, this is the one I would recommend. I really like this game. I probably like it more than Evolution 2. Evolution 2 felt way too micromanagey for me. Yeah, and it, obviously lower resolution and everything, and frame rate. That's what you would expect portably, but this runs pretty well, you know, on Switch. Other benefit of this game, they didn't like overload it with DLC and everything. Like the second game, a big complaint, right? Sure, we would I would like to have more content in this game. That was the cut that I put there just to speed up the building, or even driving. Sorry, this was, you don't do much of it, but I thought it'd be, I was like, what's the best way I can show off frame rate? Still Switch 1 footage, and you know, you're doing the Jeep with the Ranger. Yeah, so they, you know, it would be nice to see more DLC for this first game, but the way they handled the second one, maybe not. Maybe this was just perfect for what it was. I'm very excited, third game should be coming out October, I believe, right? I don't, they haven't announced Switch 2, but I hope, that'd be great. Again, yeah, this is another game that, like, they're on their third game now, I guess we could start talking about this even before it gets in. I'll just let this play out, and then we'll get into some Switch 2 capture. The Switch 2 version has some like major problems, not performance wise, but it's like one of the games. There are like like most of the backward compatible games on Switch 2 work well, and if they don't work at all, Nintendo's like kind of like said they're not compatible, and like each system software update they fix stuff themselves even without patches from the devs. And that's what I'm kind of hoping and expecting for Jurassic World Evolution on Switch 2, because again, I don't know if Frontier comes back and patches this, because this is so old now. They're not releasing DLC content for anything, so I would like them to, but like they are not obliged to, right? So you would hope that Nintendo's own whatever firmware updates they do, they would fix it, because yeah, like I said, we're gonna get to it in a second. I'll show you on the Switch 2. This is one of the few games, like very few, there's not a lot, but that is basically as you can broken. Here it is. It's got weird colors, so I think just like blooms and looks weird, and the colors ain't right, and the palettes just look wrong. Some people said, oh, like they was theorizing maybe it was because there's HDR support or something. Recently, over the coming days, people have discovered that, oh, they think they found a fix themselves, air quotes hack, where you can go into the settings, change the color to Jurassic World palette, and then go back to original, or like if you save and load, we'll go back into the main menu. I've tried it. I did capture some footage and I was going to add that in, but it's not a reliable fix. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and even when it works, it's not, all the colors are not fixed. You can still go into some shadows and highlights and they still bloom and look way off, like greens in the background, whatever. There, like this was one of the saves when I came in when it wasn't as bad, but sometimes you can come into a save and it's worse, so performance wise and everything is operating fine. But yeah, again, this is my favorite builder on the Switch, so I would have this is probably my most disappointing. Oh, it doesn't work. And yeah, that fix that you're gonna probably see people saying, people might even comment and say, oh, it's fixed, this I fixed it. No, it's a lie. I've tested it all. It doesn't fully work. You can make it like 70% of the colors work, like look accurate, but then all of it is not fixed. I tried for a good while, and so it's not a consistent community hack fix, whatever. But yeah, this again, I like I was saying earlier on, I don't know if Frontier comes back and patches this, because they didn't say that we're gonna make this work with Switch 2. So this is on Nintendo and their backward compatibility, right? I don't know. Again, I don't know why it's doing it. I don't know if it's because the HDR support or anything. This game doesn't have it. I didn't have like HDR or anything on. I've got it off because none of my capture cards support it. So it's not because of that. This is all captured at 1080p as well. But I tried a few things, and yeah, other than improved loading times and maybe frame rate's a bit smoother, not really much else. It was kind of hard to tell. Maybe this has got some like resolution boost and everything, but again, with the colors so off, it's like it was really hard to test this. I just put this in here to just show the loading time and show the bug, really. So until they don't fix those graphical issues, or I don't find a permanent solution that somebody's worked out, it's kind of hard to go into detail and see like, oh, or the tree sharp and all that, because all the colors just look off. So anyway, there you have it. That was like 4 games. I bunched these together rather than doing individual videos, because they're all very like park builders, city builders kind, that type of game. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought. Have you got any of these? Are you looking to get them on Switch 2? Because like mainly, as you can see with all of these anyway, it's just improved loading times, right? If you are interested in those other videos and some more of the backward compatibility videos we got up, maybe up on the channel, Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Turn those notification bells on so you do know when new videos drop. Or not, we'll call it this one. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Peace.